All right. So, jumped into the new project. I guess it's not really a new project. It's just finalizing um, a draft of a short story. At this point, I've gone through about, I don't know, 3 or 4 drafts of it. And, okay. Yeah. Definitely some. How do I say it? Definitely a little bit of a challenge. There's definitely some challenge to this. Um, I am going to say right off the bat here that I don't know if this story is ever going to get picked up. This story might just be something that I keep for the collection and that it gets published with the collection. Because trying to publish this story individually is going to be so rough. Um, the main issue with this story is twofold. It's kind of the same thing, really, but it's 2 separate issues. One is the length of the story. It's like 8,400 words right now, and yeah, I'm gonna go through. I'm gonna do some more trimming of the story, but 8,400 is a lot. But the bigger issue is that the total page count is like 28 pages, double space, something like that. The first 8 pages is all build up. It is all backstory. It is all getting to know this main character and understanding their family dynamics and all of that. And I like it. That's the problem. I really like it. It's doing this intro. This intro chapter does exactly what I want for this piece. But I'm asking a lot. That is asking a ton of a reader to stick around through, the first quarter of this story, basically. Just to go, hey, listen, stick through this first quarter, get through all the backstory stuff, and then you can dive right in. Then the actual story happens. It's not like TV. It's not like a Netflix show where you can have, a week episode 1 or 2 and then everything picks up and get going. One of my favorite TV series of all time is The Wire. And that first season, if everyone's watched it, like the first 6, 7 episodes, it's kind of dry. I mean, it's dense. The whole series is dense, but first 6, 7 episodes is really dense. You are just learning the characters. You don't even figure out who the bad guy is until like episode like 6 or 7. Like you're already halfway through the season. You don't even figure out who the bad guy is. Really, really dense. Not a lot happens very early on there, and you just gotta stick through it. It's once you do, you get rewarded very well. This story is kind of the same way. You stick through the first 8 pages, you're gonna have a hell of an emotional tale here, but you gotta stick through those first pages. And yeah, I'm gonna go through and I can maybe trim a little bit out of this backstory, a little bit. But a lot of it I really can't get rid of, and the reason for it is you have to get this character. There are certain small nuances with this character you have to get. If I get rid of it, the audience will miss a little bit, but you'll also miss a lot of the story. You'll miss a lot of the heart of what we're working on here in this tale. A lot of that is going to go away if you just jump at the idea of just getting right into kind of the main conflict. You have to understand that. So that's gonna be a challenge. That is gonna be a challenge. And when you're at this sort of crossroads where you have something that you really like and you really believe in, and you know that it's going to be a huge hindrance, you have to come to some degree of acceptance. Either you have to cut it to what will get it more likely to be published and be okay with it, or stick to your guns, stick to the story, and be okay with the fact that it's going to be hard to get published, if at all. It's one or the other. And I'm going to be honest with you. Right now, I'm in the camp right now of keep it as it is and be okay if it doesn't get published. At least not individually in a magazine. This whole collection at some point will get out there. Whether I do it self-published or not, or I find someone else to do it, it's going to get out there. This is a collection that's probably my strongest writing. It's something I believe in a ton, and I don't have many qualms about going down the self-published route with this particular collection here. My novels, especially the first one, really hoping for traditional publishing there, really hoping for an agent. When it comes to a collection of short stories, I don't care nearly as much about the pathway for it as long as it gets out. I don't know why that is, much or why that is outside of, perhaps it's just my view that the novel is the whole work, the collection is a series of work. So if I can get a bunch of these short stories in published in literary magazines, then if I self-publish it afterwards on my own, who cares? Someone else has already seen it and approved of it in a sense and brought it into the world. Unlike a novel where basically it either get traditionally published or you self-published, and if you go the self-published route, no one else has ever given the sign off. No one else has ever, kind of agreed to pay you some sort of money for your story. So with it, this story will get out there either way, but going in that this is already the real main challenge here. And yeah, it's tough. I guess just to be a little bit more negative about it, and it's not really negative, but just to point out some of the flaws I've seen with it. The other thing too is I've wanted to take a lot of some stereotypical ideas, like some cliched notions that have been used time and time again. And I want to kind of flip them on their head a little bit. And so what you see in the story, especially in the beginning, in fact, one of the early sections basically is actually a very cliched phrase, or a very cliched statement. For those that maybe have ever seen or ever heard the expression about how, like, maybe your parents have once said, they used to walk to school every day, or they used to walk through the snow to get to school or something like that. They had to walk uphill like 8 miles or whatever it is, and kids today are so pampered. I've basically taken that cliched phrase and worked it into the beginning of the story. I love to take an idea like that, like a cliched beaten thing, and actually turn it into something. Actually make something a bit more original out of it. So I've actually used that. But unfortunately, a very surface level reading of the story, people are going to say, "Oh, you've just gripped to kind of a cliche that's been done before." That's also going to be a bit of a hindrance there. I like it though, and there's a certain level of importance in doing that. Like that actual cliche actually factors a lot into understanding a bit of the character's dynamic with their child, which is really what this is about. This is about a character and trying to relate to their child, and that cliche actually factors in huge. It actually presents a really good opportunity at the beginning of the story for a moment between them, and so all this is coming in. So I've got long word count, I've got a long backstory, I've got basically a cliche in the beginning here. Can we make this work? Can we get this thing to work? I think we can. But this is going to, this is gonna have some detractors. Again, ironically, it's one of my favorite. It's an excellent story that I love personally, which is ultimately all that's gonna matter. But it's going to have its challenges, and so we'll see what happens. We're going to see how this whole thing ends up, but yeah, it's going to be a bit of a wild ride. So with that, here's hoping I'm wrong. Here's hoping that maybe in 4, 5, 6 months from now, I make a video saying, hey, this story got published and I was worried for nothing, but we'll see. We're going to find out. It'll be interesting. But ultimately, I'm not viewing the work on this one as a wasted effort if I don't get it done. If it doesn't ever get published, I'm okay with this one. This one is personal. This one's sort of for me, in a sense.